Mount Carmel family welcomes you all to this episode of Independence Day. This year, we are going to celebrate the 74th year of independence. It reminds us of the tireless struggle led by our freedom fighters to give us freedom from the British. It advises us to use the liberty wisely in order to maintain peace and harmony in our nation. It also brings along with it immense pleasure and pride of being free from the colonial rule. But it makes us ponder and ask questions like, when did the British rule over us? How did they start colonization? And many more. To get answers for these questions, let us take a glance of the ancient India.
Before the advent of the colonial rule, India was a self-sufficient and a flourishing economy. Evidently, our country was known as the Golden Eagle. India had already established itself on the world map with a decent amount of exports. Although primarily it was an agrarian economy, many manufacturing activities were budding in the pre-colonial India. Indian craftsmanship was widely popular around the world and garnered huge demands. The economy was well known for its handicraft industries in the fields of cotton and silk textiles, metals and precious stoneworks, etc. Such developments lured the British to paralyze our state and use it for their home country's benefit. India was a bunch of princely states. However, this was something that was seen in the larger picture. If you take a microscopic look, there was a whole group of castes, communities, races and religions. Artists, singers, dancers, etc. got rewards and patronage from the kings. There was tax system, but it was not as harsh as the British system. There was a great progress in literature. There was international trade carried on by both the way, north and south, through land and through sea route through the Indian Ocean respectively. There was a good trade and commerce in local.
As we know, India was ruled by many dynasties, namely Mughals, Sultans, British, etc. Do you know why they were so very interested in India? As India was blessed with cultural, economic and religious inheritance. It also had strategic place for trade, strategic location for trade, etc. It was also a land of spices, indigo, silk cloth, etc.
In 1453 AD, as Constantinople was taken over by the Turkish Muslims, they did not allow the Europeans to travel through that route. Hence, the Europeans were forced to find a new sea route to India as they could not do without the Indian spices. So, in 1498 AD, Vasco da Gama found a new sea route to India. This opened the door for many other countries. Gradually, other Europeans like Portuguese, Dutch and many more started to enter India. Later, in 1600 AD, Queen Elizabeth of England allowed the East India Company to trade with India. So, the first ship under the leadership of Captain Hawkins arrived at the port of Surat, but due to the dominance of other countries, they were not able to set up their trading center. The Mughal Emperor Jahangir allowed the East India Company to set up their first trading center in Surat in 1613 AD. But later, the East India Company started to interfere in different political and internal matters of the state. This resulted between the dispute of the Nawabs and the Britishers. Thereby, the East India Company started annexing of different states by different annexation policies and wars.
the Battle of Plassey, the beginning of the company rule. The Battle of Plassey was a stepping stone for the Britishers to rule over India. This was the first war they fought here. As being victorious, they got control over 24 Parganas. The revenues collected over the 24 Parganas were helpful to manage their own requirements. Now, you may start wondering, how did the Britishers come in contact with various kings and rulers of India? How did they actually get involved in the Battle of Plassey? And what were the things that made them fascinated to rule over India? Since they came as traders. This leads us to the time when Siraj-ud-Daulah was ruling over Bengal. He was an impulsive ruler, and so he had many opponents in his own state. Britishers had built a fort at Kolkata without even asking for the permission of the Nawab. When he came to know about this, he became so furious that he destroyed the fort into small pieces. The British in return became angry about this, and so a small group of army led by Robert Clive reached Bengal from Madras, that is now known as Chennai. But he soon realized it was not easy to defeat the Nawab. So he thought to plan a treachery. A conspiracy was caught in which the commander-in-chief of the Nawab, Mir Zafar and Shet Ami Chand, were coaxed to join. On the pretext that the Nawab is unnecessarily harassing people, a war was declared with the Nawab. The Battle of Plassey took place on 23rd June 1757 AD. Everything happened according to the plan. Mir Zafar lost the battle and Siraj-ud-Daulah was defeated. The battle ended up being a joke which just finished in half a day. Thus, the foundation of the company rule was laid in the Battle of Plassey in 1757 AD.
The British Regulating Act 1773. By the end of 1756, the Britishers got more involved in establishing their power rather than just trading or extracting wealth. Soon they started writing disrespectful letters to the Nawabs, refused to pay taxes, and began to humiliate the Nawabs and his officials. After the victory of the Battle of Plassey in 1757, they wanted to deal with puppet rulers and slowly and gradually decided to become rulers and govern the country. The company expands rule. The company passed a regulating act in 1773 for the proper functioning of the country. It is formally known as East India Company's Act. It was passed to house the management of the East India Company's rule in India. The key features of the Act. Number 1. It prohibited the servants of the company from engaging in trade or accepting the presents of bribes from the natives. Number 2. The Supreme Court was established at Fort William at Kolkata. Number 3. It elevated the governors of Bengal, Warren Hastings, to Governor General of Bengal and subsumed the presidencies of Madras and Bombay under Bengal's control. Number 4. The Act also named 4 additional men to serve with the Governor General under the Supreme Council of Bengal.
The Revolt of 1857 was a conscious beginning of the independence struggle against the Britishers. The Revolt of 1857. The Revolt of 1857 was a large-scale rebellion against the British government which swept across northern and central India. The rebellion began on 10th May 1857 at Meerut as Sepoys Mutiny. It was initiated by the Sepoys in the Bengal Presidency against the British officers. If it had succeeded, it would have marked the end of the colonial rule in India.
Causes for the Revolt of 1857. The Revolt of 1857 was initiated due to various factors which are stated below. Number 1. Religious and social causes. During the Governor-Generalship of Lord Banting, there were several social and educational reforms which were introduced. like sati was banned, widow remarriage was sanctioned by law, schools were opened for women for education, etc. Many Indians thought that the Britishers were interfering in their old custom. Christian missionaries were also played an important role in the revolt. This increased the insecurity of people and grew anger within the Indian society. Number 2. Economic causes. One of the most important causes of the revolt was the economic policies. Britain had used India as a source of raw material for its industries. It then flooded India with cheap machines made good from Britain. As a result, Indian industries had to suffer steep decline and millions of artisans were rendered jobless. The land revenue system by the Britishers was another reason of discontent. The permanent settlement of Bengal fixed revenue income to the Britishers. The peasants and the zamindars were unable to pay the high taxes. As a result of these policies, peasants and zamindars also joined the rebellion.
Number 3.
Causes. The conquest of India by the British had dispossessed many Indian rulers of their territories. The British policies for annexing more states, like the Subsidiary Alliance and the Doctrine of Lapse, caused resentment and insecurity among the Indian rulers. Second, the immediate cause. By 1857, the nation was seething with resentment. It just needed a spark to set off the revolt. This spark came from the new Enfield rifle that the British introduced in the army in 1857. To prevent the iron cartridge from rusting, it was smeared with grease. Before loading it, one end of the cartridge had to be beaten off. A rumor spread that the grease used was the fat of cows and pigs. The Spurs were enraged, believing that the British were deliberately using the greased cartridge to defy the religion of both Hindus and Muslims. Muslims are forbidden from eating the flesh of pigs, and Hindus consider cows sacred. The soldiers refused to use the cartridge. Mangal Pandey, who led the revolt, was hanged. Reasons for the failure of the revolt. Lack of unity among the Indians. The revolt did not involve the entire region or the section of Indian society. Many of the Indian rulers and big zamindars refused to join the rebellion. Most of the South India and Western Punjab stayed out of the rebellion. Most of the educated, westernized Indians also did not support the revolt.
Of national leaders. The revolt threw up several independent leaders, but there was no single leader who could unite these groups. The leaders were mainly princes who joined the revolt because of the threat of the British to their throne. Therefore, the groups eventually became weak. Lack of resources. The rebels could not match the modern weapons and materials of the war used by the British. They were brave and fearless, but lacked organization and discipline. The British had railways and excellent system of communication. So, the troops could be moved easily and the decisions could be taken faster.
Reorganization of the British Empire in India. Although the Britishers were able to suppress the revolt, it shook their confidence. Therefore, they took some important measures to consolidate British rule in India. India was brought directly under the Crown. After 1857, the British East India Company was abolished as a governing body and India was brought directly under the British Crown. The organization of the British Army. The British replaced Sepoys who were Brahmin, Rajput and those from Awadh, Bihar and central India with Gurkhas, Sikhs and Pathans.
I would like to thank the school management and our respected principal, Sister Renuka, for giving us this opportunity to showcase our talents and hidden skills. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share it with your friends and family members, and click the subscribe button given below to stay tuned. Also, remember to watch the upcoming video.